Hi guys, we're here today with Luke Fallon. Luke is one of our oldest clients with the quick gyros. He's fitted a quick gyro to this magnificent O'Brien 56 probably 3 years ago now, Luke, almost 3 years ago.
At least 3 years.
So yeah, Luke's a very accomplished professional captain on the reef, and he does game fishing charters on the beautiful Kekoa. And look, I thought it'd be great to ask Luke some questions about the gyro, seeing as he's the guy with some of the best experience and certainly ocean-going experience of any of our customers. So Luke, tell us a little bit about why quick gyro.
We went with a quick gyro mainly because it was an aftermarket install and space was an issue. So luckily enough, the quick fit right in the space that we had. So that was one big plus for us. And
well as between the engines, isn't it?
Right, between the engines in the engine room, yeah. And the simpleness of the operation is another, contributing factor. That also the fact that it's air cooled and not water cooled is a huge part for us because we spend a lot of time. It's a marlin fishing boat, so when we're fighting fish, we're backing up and reversing, and we get a lot of air and turbulence under the boat, and we don't have any troubles with airlocks in pumps or anything like that because it's all air cooled.
So Luke, let's talk performance, right? So the quick gyro, as you know, has adaptive performance, adaptive precession movement. So what that precession does is it constantly studies the movement of your boat and adjusts the precession angle and the response of the precession so that the boat is stabilised from when you're in chop, fishing in chop, and when you're fishing in big seas.
Yep.
How do you feel that while you're driving the boat, while you're running the boat? What does that feel like to you?
Oh, well, essentially it stops the boat from rocking. And that's the noticeable difference. With it on, with it off, it's tremendous the amount of difference. So essentially it's killing the rock of the boat. You do feel a bit of a sensation, the gyro moving at the extremities when it stops. Of course it has to do that. But underway, fantastic. Trolling, it's a big difference, but we mostly put this quick in, or gyro in, for anchoring at night time. Most of all our trips are liverboard trips out of the reef, and of course we're anchored behind the reef at night. It's subject to tides and weather, so if you get strong winds and big tides, it still can be pretty rolly behind the reef.
They don't feel like eating dinner.
No, well, yeah.
And if they do, it goes back out the door.
It makes it a struggle, but yeah, you whack the quick on and it just kills it completely.
And tell me, do you ever try seeing what the difference is when you put it in standby mode and disconnect it, and then put it back and reactivate it, just to see how much of a difference it's doing in those sea conditions?
Yeah, a lot of our clients, sometimes ask, what's it like with it off, and it's easy. Oh, here you go, I can just show you. Whack it on standby, and the first thing they're like, well, quick, turn it back on again.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, well, that's it's important to hear that from you, driving the boat. So you mentioned a moment ago about using the quick gyro when the vessel's underway. Now, as you know, the quick gyro is the only gyro in the world that spins the mast vertically, like a bicycle tyre. So it tends to, we believe, and we've had naval architects confirm, reduce the course deviation and track deviation with beams and following sea, right? But that's on paper. I mean, a naval architect took out all the instruments, he measured it at a very significant reduction, at least 20%. But what about you? You're driving the boat, you turn it on, you turn it off, you tell me. What does that feel like when you're driving?
Well, as we know, real world testing is different to on paper.
Absolutely.
But yeah, when I first got it, we mostly just used it, turned it on when we got out fishing and started trolling, or turned it on at night time behind the reef when the boat started rocking. But now I pretty much turn it on before I leave the dock, particularly if it's going to be a little bit rough, because it performs so well while the boat's underway. So this cruise is between 25 to 27 knots, and like I say, down sea, beam on sea, at that speed, it's hard to believe that it does work, and it is so efficient, but it does. And particularly,
so you can really feel it. You can really get a sense of it.
You don't really feel it as much at that speed, but it's noticeable. Particularly down sea or cross sea if you're running an autopilot. Your variation and your tracking, it's so much straighter, and I believe the boat runs so much nicer with it.
So before you mentioned that you use the gyro a lot at night. So when you're out on the reef and you're out, you know, for the charters for 3 or 4 days, for a whole week, whatever, you often moor behind the reef at night. And often, as you mentioned before, depending on tide and weather, you can have some rough conditions overnight, hanging off the anchor. So tell us a little bit about the gyro at night, because a lot of our clients ask, is it noisy? You know, can you sleep with it on or whatever? I mean, what's your experience with that?
Absolutely. You know, pretty much you can just turn the gyro on at the start of your trip and, you know, turn it off at the end of the trip. Like, it looks after the changing conditions anyway. So if it's calmer, it doesn't work as hard. If it's rougher, it's compensating for that. But at night time, we leave it on at night time, particularly in those rough conditions. And because it's mounted in between the engines, in the engine room, it's pretty well, sound insulated, and it's very quiet. You can't hear, you can't hear the generator. Can't hear the gyro over the generators anyway. So the fact that it's on, it just makes you sleep nice at night. Yeah.
Everybody wakes up in the morning, not in the middle of the night.
No one rolls out of bed when the tide changes in the middle of the night. Exactly.
Yeah, fantastic. So, as you know, with the quick gyro, you get full interface with the machine, right? So you can look at the performance in terms of precession angles. You can look at bearing temperatures. You can look at all sorts of data as the machine is operating. And as you know, as part of what the quick does, like some of the other brands on the market, we have standby mode, which allows you at a touch of a button to stop, to neutralise the anti-roll effect, and therefore get full control of the boat as though you had no gyro on the boat at all.
Yep.
Now, some manufacturers discount that and say that that's a complete gimmick. I think, and I believe you do also, that standby mode is very important as a type of fishing that you do. Tell us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. For our application, being a marlin fishing boat, generally it's on when it's rough, and it's important. And the key to the gyro is it stops the boat from rocking, which is great when you're going forward, but it works against you when you're reversing backwards, obviously when we're chasing marlin.
What does that mean specifically? When you're going backwards, why is it working against you?
Because it's on when it's rough and we're reversing generally into the sea. The boat
waves slap onto the back.
Yeah, well, the boat doesn't naturally want to roll, so the water comes in over the transom and across the corner, like it wouldn't if the boat was with it turned off. The boat would roll and go over the wave, but because we're going backwards now, it goes basically straight down and through the wave. So when we hook up and we're fighting a fish, it's important to me to be able to turn it off and put it on standby mode so the boat rocks naturally. And then
so you keep the water out of the cockpit. You can continue fighting the fish as long as you like. It's fine. The boat will handle its way, as though it didn't have a gyro.
That's right. Yeah, it just rolls, just carries on like exactly like you didn't have one. And, it's very important. It's without it, you could potentially sink your boat or.
There she goes. The fish won.
Or definitely make fighting the fish a lot harder.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
you wanted a spa bath back there, didn't you?
Yeah, well, when it's rough, it can get pretty wet down there. Being able to turn that off, it's very, very important for us. And to be able to have that function.
Well, you get control of your boat back, don't you? You really just, it's like an autopilot. You switch it off and you get control of the plane, or you get control of the boat in this case, back. You get your boat back. There's nothing else fighting your boat. It's just you driving it.
That's right. And then with the push of a button, it's instant.
And back on again.
Back on again. And, off you go, start trolling and whatever. And to be able to have that interface into all my screens, which we'll talk about, is amazing. I've got...
So it's not a gimmick then?
It's not a gimmick, absolutely. It's not a gimmick. No, it's important.
It's a deal breaker.
Yeah,
it's really important.
It's an important safety feature. And it's not just for that, but there's a lot of other applications where that standby mode is important and should be used.
Brilliant. So you mentioned a moment ago about the interfacing of the gyro data to the screens. You've got 17-inch Garmin's up here, and you've got Garmin's upstairs as well on the tower. The quick gyro comes with a thing called the Q&N interface, which you opted for, which allows you to put the controls for the gyro through your Garmin screens here. You've got Garmin, but it could be Raymarine, or it could be Furuno, it could be anything you want. Why is that important for you as a game skipper with multi-stations? Tell us a little bit about that.
because I'm driving at multi-stations, you know, I'm operating the boat in the fly bridge as well as up in the tower. And the main control of the gyro is obviously in the saloon where it's in a friendly environment, out of the weather. But having it up here, I can still control the whole, you know.
So you can put it in standby mode, and you can see on here on the screen. You'll actually, I mean, obviously the gyro's off at the moment, but you can see here you've got the speed of the rotation of the gyro, and you've got the precision angle of the gyro. You have standby mode at the touch of a button, which, as we were saying before, allows you to lock the precision and deactivate the effects of the gyro. Start and stop. You can monitor the gyro from up here, and he has the exact same ability through all the screens on the dash as well as the ones upstairs on the tower. So going back to what we were saying before, you use that a lot when you're up in the tower, when you hook up the fish, right? That's when you start being able to monitor what's going on.
Exactly. So I could do that from any one of the 4 screens I have here, or I can do it from any one of the 3 screens I have up in the tower.
Yeah, because the alternative is yelling downstairs to get somebody else to do it while they're trying to fight the fish.
Exactly, and they don't need to do
That's
that.
not practical,
That's something that I can look after, and you know, and can do it on any one of 7 screens I've got on the boat. So and be able to look at how it's working and how it's operating.
What sort of angles it's doing at
any given time as well.
It's not just a little light that says it's on.
That's right.
That's great.
So you got full control and know exactly what the gyro's doing at any moment of the day.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks, mate. So, I mean, look, it's been great. I know I see you every year when you come and do your yard period at the Gold Coast, mate. It's you're making it look brand new. This boat's always looked brand new. You obviously run a good boat, mate, and I know you're heading up north for the season.
Yep.
And I hope you guys have a really big season this year, because you deserve it after all the mess with COVIDs and stuff like that. Hopefully you get up there and have a really good one, mate. But thanks a lot for taking the time to have a chat.
Cheers,
and all the very best for the season. We'll see you in 12 months, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you very much for coming in and keeping track of us. And that's the beauty that I like with you guys is it's not just buy it and see you later, but you know, as we know, we talk often, and it's a great working relationship, and it's good to be supporting
only for
you
the
guys.
good clients, mate. Good on you. Thanks, mate. All the best.